Professor. My name is Christopher Concha, and I'm part of the Pasta Lovers group, which includes myself, Callista, Amira, and Skylar. And today we're going to be teaching everybody how to make one of my favorite Italian dishes, fettuccine Alfredo. I will say this is a very relatively easy meal to make and pretty cheap too. I think everything you see here is probably between $30 and $40. If you want to get a little fancy with it and add in some chicken or some broccoli or both, you may be looking at between $40 and $50, which, considering how expensive it is to go out to eat these days, that's still relatively cheap. Plus this right here will feed a family of four generously with leftovers as well. So with that, I'm going to go into the ingredients. The main ingredient and the base of the sauce is the heavy whipping cream. This is a 1-quart jug, and you will use the entire quart. The next ingredient is whipped cream cheese. I like to use whipped cream cheese only because it makes it easier to melt when you put it in the sauce. You can use regular cream cheese, but I would recommend leaving it out so it softens a little bit. That way when you put it in, it melts a little bit easier and you're not having to like smash it or anything like that. The next ingredient is just regular black pepper, salt. I don't use a lot of salt, so you may not need any of this. It is a, you'll need to just taste your food, and if you need to add salt, you can. Definitely garlic salt will be one of the main ingredients as well. And then I actually forgot one here. The other one is Parmesan cheese. You definitely gonna need this. This adds flavor to the sauce here. And then I know it's fettuccine Alfredo, but I actually like to use linguine noodles over the Alfredo noodles only because they're a little bit thinner. You don't get that thick noodle like you do with the fettuccine. Kind of like an angel hair versus a spaghetti noodle. The angel hair is a little bit thinner. So, but you can use whatever kind of noodle you want. That's up to you. I actually thought about using a pen noodle for the next time I actually make this, which I still might do. I don't have a backstory on this, on how I made this. It's not like I lived next to some old Italian people or it was in Italy and I found the recipe, whatever. No, my kid's mom used to make this meal, and I think I got the recipe from her probably about 3-4 years ago, and been making it ever since. I will say this is one of my kids' favorite meals. They're huge pasta lovers as well. So if you can get the sauce right, I guarantee you won't need to go to Olive Garden for your fettuccine Alfredo fix. You may still have to go for your unlimited breadsticks and soup and salad, which who doesn't like unlimited stuff, right? But as far as your Alfredo, you'll be good with this recipe if you can get the sauce right. So I would just like to caution everybody before we get into the actual making of the recipe is you are going to be working with open flames, so just be cautious for that. Hot liquid as well with the heavy whipping cream. It does have a tendency to boil up once it gets really, really hot and it starts to boil, and it will foam over the top. So just be aware of that when you're cooking. I think that's it. Enough of me talking. Let's get into making this recipe, and we'll turn it over to Callista from there. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Callista Owens, and I'll be getting you guys started on the fettuccine Alfredo dish. So what we're going to do is take our heavy whipping cream. We're going to turn our pan on to medium-high heat, whatever is best. And then we're just going to pour it straight in there, the entire quart. want to keep an eye on it so it doesn't bubble over or anything. Just stir it a little bit. And while we wait for that, I'll let you guys know a little bit about the origins of fettuccine Alfredo. So it was created by Alfredo de Lelio back in 1907. He opened up his restaurant in Italy. His restaurant is called Alfredo. And originally he created this dish actually for his sick wife. After her second pregnancy, she fell really ill and she couldn't eat and she was just getting really sick. So he wanted to find a dish that would nourish her but wouldn't be too much for her stomach. So he found this egg dish, this egg pasta with butter and Parmesan, and he created fettuccine Alfredo. Originally it was named fettuccine al Alfredo, but over time, through translation, it's just become fettuccine Alfredo. So we'll give that some time, let it start to boil. It does take some time. We don't want to rush it and put it on high heat because that will just mess with the milk. So we want to have it on that medium to high heat so we get a bit proper time and the proper temperature to boil up to what it needs to be. And this is going to be hot milk, so be very careful. Try not to splash it around too much. You don't want to burn yourself or anything. Just stir it slowly, keep an eye on it. And then I'll send it over to Skylar and she'll let you guys know what to do once it starts bubbling up.
Hi everyone, Skylar Sterling here, and today we're going to make fettuccine Alfredo. Let's go.
So making the Alfredo sauce from scratch, we have our heavy whipping cream, our Parmesan, and our whipped cream cheese, which we're going to leave out to soften up a bit before we use it. And then we have our remaining seasonings, black pepper, regular salt, and garlic salt. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin to pour in our heavy whipping cream. So we're just going to go ahead and do that.
Okay, so we just added in our heavy whipping cream and we're gonna let that get warm for a little bit.
So now our whipped cream cheese should be a little softened. So we'll go ahead and check that out. What we're going to do is we're going to stir our whipping cream just a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our spoon and put half in the tub because we're going to use half a tub of the whipped cream cheese. And then we're going to put that in there with our heavy whipping cream, and we're going to let that get softened up. We're going to stir it up a bit and try to make it into a bunch of smaller clumps, and then kind of try to smoothen
The
that
step
out.
I'm on now, I'm kind of just stirring it, and when you're stirring it, you want to make sure that you're holding on to the pot very tightly so that you don't splatter, get it everywhere, or that it doesn't move off the burner. And then when you're stirring it, you want to kind of take the clumps of the whipped cream cheese and kind of smash it down and kind of get as many of those lumps out as possible before adding in your seasoning. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And then also what I'm going to do is kind of going to just turn the heat down a little bit on that. And then I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to try to get as many of the cream cheese clumps out as possible.
Okay, so this is what it should look like after you break down that larger clump of cream cheese. And then what you're just going to do is you're just going to continue to stir it and smush them as much as possible and get all as many clumps out as possible. As you can see here, that's kind of the progress that I made so far. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in our Parmesan cheese. So for me, I personally like really cheesy Alfredo, so I did put a little excess cheese in mine. But normally, if you want a thicker Alfredo sauce, you can use cornstarch. It's the most effective in thickening that up. So cornstarch would also be a good option instead of adding extra cheese. Right? And then you can use garlic salt. You can use the garlic cloves themselves. Go ahead and chop those up. You can use those. But overall, Alfredo is made with butter and cream. So you can go ahead and you can add some butter in there. And don't to not get it confused with white sauce, which is made with flour, milk, and butter. So we're just going to go ahead and start to mix that all together. Okay. And then you want to remember not to stir too fast so that it doesn't splash everywhere, so that the pot doesn't come off of the burner. But other than that, it should be done after a few minutes after you stir that all together, and then you can go ahead and plate that. Okay? And then that's kind of how my sauce came out. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Amira and I'm going to be showing you guys the last few steps for the Alfredo sauce. So this is the final product of the sauce after mixing it thoroughly. It's very nice, creamy, and smooth. And with Alfredo, you can do anything. You can choose whatever pasta you want. Like Chris was saying earlier, you could put chicken, broccoli. So for mine, I boiled some penne pasta, and then I also did some shrimp here because my family likes to eat it with shrimp. So I will plate it up and show you guys what it looks like when it's plated. Sorry y'all, but my audio cut out for some reason, but here I am plating the final dish. And in this clip, I was talking about the difference between like a traditional white sauce and then the Alfredo sauce we use. Like one common sauce you can typically find in like lasagnas or any other dishes is a bechamel sauce. It was originated in France and is made with a roux. A roux typically consists of melting the butter and then adding flour till it creates this thick paste, and then adding your milk or like a heavy cream, whatever you're putting into your sauce, and then this creates that thick sauce. For the Alfredo, we actually didn't use this process. Instead, we rather mix the milk, the cream cheese, and the cheese together to get our thick sauce. So, I mean, many white sauces have their different variations on the whole process. For example, even carbonara. I know it's not typically a white sauce, but it is like a cheesy sauce. And instead of any milk, they actually just use egg yolks and Parmesan cheese, and they mix that together, and then they cook it in the bacon fat or the pancetta fat to get that thick sauce. Italians actually had been eating Alfredo sauce for a while, for a couple of centuries, before actually figuring out that it was Alfredo sauce. And throughout this, I'm just like smelling the dish, and it smells so amazing. The sauce looks amazing, and I just can't wait to try it. I'm gonna give it a try. Really good. I urge you guys to make this super easy and super simple. Now I'm gonna have my grandma try it.
A ver.
Es una salsa de Alfredo.
Qué rico, qué delicia. A ver, ¿lo pruebo?
Sí.
Ah,
¿Qué dices?
yummy, está muy delicioso.